Do-It-Yourself. Del here, continuing with our movie reviews. We got one 1968 called Bullitt, starring Steve McQueen and Robert Vaughn. And you may remember that they were in The Magnificent Seven 8 years earlier. And there's a kind of a story that the two of them they were filming in Mexico, I think, and the two of them went to a house of ill repute and ordered seven. So they were friends, and so Steve McQueen tried to get Robert Vaughn to star in this movie Bullitt with him, and it's not a good guy kind of part, but Vaughn said no, and so they kept offering him more and more money, and finally he acquiesced, and he did a really good job in there too, great job. But Steve kind of runs the show on these things, and he got $1 million for the picture, and I've never heard of another actor looking at a script and seeing things that he don't like. He'd tear the page out of the script, and that was that, and he got away with it too. I never heard of any other actor doing that. But it's co-stars Don Gordon, and Steve worked with him in that Dustin Hoffman picture, Papillon. Don Gordon was in that one as well. And Jacqueline, a young Jacqueline Bisset, was in this one of her first movies. And a stuntman this stuntman, Bud Elkins, but I don't know, Akins, and call him Elkins, Bud Elkins, he did the motorcycle thing in The Great Escape. That's the part with the cross boards and the barbed wire and so forth. Everybody thought that Steve McQueen did it, including me. I thought he did that motorcycle work himself, but Bud Elkins did it. So, at any rate, on this picture they had 4 cars. There was a big car chase in this. Phil D'Antoni was the producer, Peter Yates the director. Well, at any rate, there was a movie called The French Connection that kind of, the car chase followed out of this one. And that French Connection was Gene Hackman and that guy from Jaws. Can't think of it right now. He's one of the 3 leads in Jaws. At any rate, so they had 4 cars, 2 Mopars and 2 Muskrats, and they didn't soup the cars up to make them faster. The setting was San Francisco, where there's a lot of hills and so forth, so they did beef up the suspensions, and 2 of the cars had cameras in the back seat looking forward. And Steve McQueen started doing his own stunt work, but there's a place in there where you see where the green, one of the green Mustangs got the fender dented. He did that one, and coincidentally his wife Neely Adams went to the powers that be, and she said she didn't want him doing that kind of work, so he got relegated to the close-ups. And this, out of all the pictures that I review, this thing is impactful. It is something. He plays a detective, and Jacqueline Bisset's his girlfriend, and there are it's kind of a complicated story. I've read the book and I've seen the movie a gazillion times, and I still can't tell you exactly about the whys and wherefores of the storyline. But it was from a mafia person from Chicago trying to escape, and maybe something to do with the mafia's money, and going to San Francisco. At any rate, Robert Duvall's in this one. He plays the cab driver, and that was early in his career. And it has the big car chase. And so this is the kind of movie that legends kind of evolve out of. Steve McQueen, call him the King of Cool, whatever you want to call him, He had a young experience as a young person that he and the police didn't always see eye to eye, and I think he might have been reluctant to play a policeman, but he did a really fine job of it. And the clothes he wore, he had a turtleneck and he had these like desert boot-like shoes on, and he had a what I call a clip singer, that place for the gun to fit under his arm. And that, I think, there again, this might be legend, but it was made especially for him for that movie, and then every gunslinger in the whole country wanted to get one of those, obviously. And Robert Vaughn does, as I said, does an amazing part. There are many other there are character actors in here that have really impressive acting resumes, TV and so forth, and they work pretty often, and I think that a lot of these people might have been friends of Steve or somebody that that he recommended for the job. So there is one interesting story out of the four cars. There were so many things about this movie that weren't played by the rules. They took two out of the four cars and they went to a track to see which one was faster. And I think the Mopar edged out the other car a little bit, but they weren't supposed to do that. Somebody else, I don't think you could get away with that today. Another thing is Easter morning in San Francisco. I'm not real familiar with it, but I think maybe in the Mission District or something, there are tours these days that take people around and show them the various places that the car chase went. And so this car chase was a big deal. It took them 3 weeks to film it, but they did rent out part of the city on at least that one morning. And that's something now I don't think you could get away with doing. So there are a lot of things going on, behind the scenes in this picture that make it real exciting, if you're interested in that kind of thing, with the excitement of the police detectives and in a kind of an exotic location of San Francisco and so forth. And this was 68, and then 3 years later, Clint Eastwood would come into town, and he would do Dirty Harry, the first one. And so again, the San Francisco locale, and incidentally, he was born there. So those are just few of my remarks about this picture. It is exciting if you get a chance to see it. Okay, do I gotta get up and turn this thing off?
No, I'll take it off.
I get it.